Okay, here we go. Hey, first of all, thank you to everyone for joining. This is a subject that I'm super passionate about. I love marketing, and I love automation. As Jacob said, I've worked for a lot of small companies. Most of these companies have small budgets and very small marketing teams, limited resources, and so I've always been very scrappy. And so, in most of the situations I've been in, I've had to figure out how to do more with less. And so that's what I love about automation, because it's kind of that partner that you can team up with. It'll run stuff in the background and continue to push and assist, and you can focus on other things, which I think it kind of goes hand in hand with everything that Consensus is pushing out, with the whole idea of selling while you sleep. And so when I first learned about Consensus, I just thought it was a perfect fit for everything that we were trying to do. Here we go. So I found this quote. I don't really care too much about the movie, but I just thought it fit perfect. That the system is perfect until you realize it's made up of imperfect people. So in marketing and sales, we're always trying to build near perfect systems. But there's a lot of variables that we can't control, and that's mostly the people. We can't control everything that they're going to do, or the daily life events or stuff that happens. So, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, we hire individuals because of their uniqueness, because of their individual strengths, and we're better because of them. So that's not a bad thing by any means. But it does lead to some inconsistencies, and we're going to see that it can sometimes like mess up the process. But today I want to walk through some of these automations and show you how we can simplify a lot of this stuff. We can automate those repetitive daily tasks, so you can help your sales team maximize their effectiveness and help them be able to focus on the right stuff. So to kind of set the stage, I want to show you kind of where we started with ClickLease and what we've kind of been dealing with as we were building this whole automation process out. So we've got a really small marketing team, but we're responsible for 80% of all the revenue. And whether you have a company of 500 people or a company of 5 people, 80% is a big percentage. It's a big number. We pride ourselves on being very scrappy and doing more with less. Recently, we were asked to take over the SDR team, and we introduced a whole new scoring model. So we added in LQLs, AQLs, MQLs, SALs, SQLs, all the QLs into our processes. And so we put all this stuff in, and then there's a lot of things that came on really, really quickly, very, very new. And we knew we'd have to make some adaptations and adjustments in order for this all to run smoothly. And then third, we're kind of an atypical SaaS company. You're going to hear me say that a lot, probably, because not as an excuse, but just we have to operate a little differently. So our software is free. We don't make any money off of the partners or our customers, because what we do is we offer the service to them for free, and then they use this to sell more equipment or sell more equipment on their side. We're a financing company, a fintech company that works in the equipment leasing space. So we offer this software and this awesome portal and these really, really great capabilities for them, the equipment sellers, to be able to sell more. And we only make money when they make money. We only make money when they actually use our financing tools. So onboarding, adoption, training is all key and essential to everything we do. So I'm going to go over some of the problems we saw early going into this early with our pre-sales and post-sales, or not post-sale, but our pre-sale. Yeah, pre-sale and post-sale. Sorry, I'm all over the place. So pre-sale, we had some prioritization issues. And this is not a bad thing. We had an excess of leads. That's a great problem to have. But it led to a lot of cherry picking. And the reps were kind of focused on grabbing the leads that were easier for them, the ones that they felt most comfortable with. And a lot of the leads were kind of getting untouched or ignored. The other sales problem that we were running into, our pre-sales problem, was sales enablement. So our SDRs lacked the resources and the materials they needed to have an effective outreach. So what we want to do is kind of mirror the success we were having with our inbound leads and make that a conducive experience for everyone. Post sales problem. Again, this is another great problem to have. We had a high number of new accounts that we were bringing on. And because of this, it was making it a little difficult for our CSMs to do all the onboarding and training that they needed to do. And as I explained before, with our product being free, we only make money when the customers are using our services, when they're pushing our financing product and promoting our financing capabilities to their small business customers. So this was really important that we could solve this one. And then another post sale problem that we were running into was just consistency. So this is kind of two-part. One, we just didn't have standardized trainings or standardized resources that would train customers in a uniform manner. And because we had all these new accounts coming on, we were growing very quickly. When I first started with ClickLease, we had 5 people. We're now up to 250. We've just been blowing up. And so as we grew, we're also going into new industries. We're taking on new responsibilities. We were continually changing and expanding our product. So our tools were not keeping up with that. And then it was also just difficult for all the new reps we were hiring to consistently push out the same trainings. And so we were just kind of losing some of that brand identity and those those baseline features to explain the basics of our product. So we need to make sure that that was standardized and that it was always like all those basics were always covered. So this may seem a little out of order, but before I go in and show you how we did everything, I want to make sure that you guys understand that everything I'm going to tell you is going to be worth it. You can spend your time on this presentation because we had some really awesome results that myself and the team are very proud of. So we've been running consensus for about 9 months, and we've received over 650 leads, 23 hours of total viewing time, and we're bragging about this. This is pretty awesome, but a 97% conversion rate from form to view. With sales enablement, we were able to do some really awesome stuff. We increased our average demo per month for our SDRs from 12 to 20. We built a massive library to help with all these different accounts, this high number of accounts we're bringing on. So we have a massive library of resources with over 30 demos, both in English and Spanish, that cover all aspects of our product, whether that's the larger trainings or the individual pieces that are just kind of the nice helps or nice to haves. And so we have a bunch of these that have really helped our team get the tools and resources they need to assist their customers. And then the last one is consistency. We've been able to create 2 fully automated training systems that run in parallel. And I'll kind of go over these and why we have 2 different tracks and how they complement one another. But this has been really huge for us. And it's completely changed the way that we're training and tracking and revisiting our customers and those metrics of success. So let's start with these problems again. And I'll kind of go over how we broke all these out. So we talked about this prioritization problem. We needed to add more in-depth criteria for our MQLs. I said we added all these new scoring techniques, but we needed a little more detail into this so that we could properly give our sales reps the information they needed to move forward with these leads, and there wouldn't be any more of that cherry picking. When it comes to sales enablement, we talked about how we were going to need these new tools. We need to give them the same tools that our inbound customers were experiencing and give them to them so they could use these in their systems, in their outreach programs, and automate this for them so that they could assist with that whole idea of a selling while you sleep. So this page is nothing fancy by any means, but it has been a game changer for us. So what we did here is we simply separated our 2 different distinct customers. So we have the equipment sellers and the equipment buyers. Now, our main customer we work with is the equipment seller because they're the ones we offer our software and our services to, and they then promote us to their end customers who utilize the financing. So by separating those, we were making sure that only certain leads were being sent to one team and only certain leads sent to the other team. This added a whole level of credibility to our teams, and they were confident about the leads that were coming through. And this is the page that we were able to, we have all those big bragging numbers, 97% and the 650 leads. Everything came from this page. So after that, after that landing page, they go to this consensus lead form. I'm sure all of you guys have seen this, and hopefully all of you are using it. We added a couple additional fields of this just for lead routing and to collect some additional information to help us with our backend systems. And then we did some cool automation stuff. Now I'm a huge Zapier nerd. I love Zapier. There's so many cool things you can do with this. So I use it wherever I can because a lot of times we're pulling in other systems that don't have direct integrations. We also use HubSpot here. We use Salesforce. And so Zapier kind of became a cool connector for all of those tools in between. So using Zapier and Consensus and HubSpot and all the different landing pages we were building, we were able to create unique identifiers that would push these different demos, different landing pages, different experiences, different Salesforce campaigns, and push them all in the correct areas so that we could provide context for our team. They knew what special offers or incentives were being offered. And then it would also give them like additional talking points and kind of prep them for the sell. So when someone fills out that form, and then through our magic Zapier stuff, we would push all of this information into our lead notes. So here in the lead notes, we're able to see what demo they watched, what they identified as important. And then we also have that really cool consensus heat map, so we can see who watched it or what they watched specifically, how many times they watched it, what they rewatched. And it really helped them understand like how to focus their next phone call, what to focus on, what they should talk about, where they should put the emphasis. And then it timestamp this is a marketing qualified lead, which was super important for us because we're trying to track that speed to lead to increase that efficiency to, like I said before, break down that prioritization issue that we were having so that all leads were worked evenly. After that, the SDR will get some cool notifications. You guys have probably seen this one. This one comes from Consensus. So this will go out to the lead owner, but also to the SDR leadership. And then we supplemented it with these HubSpot notifications, which will add a little additional detail, explains a little more tied back to where it's coming from, which Salesforce campaign it's going to, and then provides a link where they can go directly to that lead inside of Salesforce and start working it. This seems like a really little thing, and it is. It's not hard. Most automation things are not hard. It's just a little bit of time to set up, but it made a massive difference because this helped our guys start working on it immediately and start following through and following up with all of our potential customers. So after the SDR has screened them, qualified them, and scheduled the demo, they'll then pass it off to our AE. Now this is really cool for us because we've taken those same lead notes, we've added some additional stuff, and the AE now has this wealth of knowledge within the notes of Consensus, the heat map, all of the different things that the what's it called? Sorry, the Salesforce campaigns, and has all the additional details they need to put forth an awesome demo and really cool, like custom tailored experience for the customer. And that all collects into this section right here. So that kind of takes care of that prioritization issue. But I also talked about how we were struggling to, our SDRs just needed more tools. So this was one of my favorite parts of Consensus too. They've got a really great outreach integration. And so we were able to put this really awesome Consensus video, which we were using on our live demo, to go out to every one of our customers in sequence as part of their sequence automations inside of outreach. This mirrored the experience that all of our inbound customers were receiving and allowed our sales reps to sell while they're sleeping and allowed them to be able to push this stuff out and be sending these pre-demos to all of their customers, and then just stay on top of it and follow up and make sure that they were able to kind of give that pre-demo a solid pre-demo experience and talk to the customers afterwards and make sure they're hitting on the right points and do all the stuff necessary to further qualify so they can set up the demo for the AE. So pre-sales, both of these motions were super, super important for us and have just been phenomenal for ourselves and for our team and for our processes. It's saving our SDRs so much time. It's saving so much time for our AEs. They don't have to do nearly as much prep for each demo because all the information's there and they're ready to go and move forward. So this has been awesome. But the part I really get excited about and kind of nerd out about, and maybe it's just me or maybe it's just because of the way our organization is set up, being a free product, is in the post sales. So we did a lot of really, really cool post sale stuff. We brought in a lot of AI, a lot of really fun tools that I'll go through. But first, I want to kind of tell you about the problems that we were going to be running into. So again, like we said before, we had a high number of accounts. So to combat this, we needed a way to lighten the load by adding automation and a lot of these different follow-up tasks so that it wasn't such a heavy lift for our CSMs and they had some support. Second was the consistency thing we talked about. We just needed a better system for all of our reps to move forward so they could give consistent trainings, consistent demos. We're giving our customers the tools to succeed. Being this is a free product, we only make money when they are using it. And so we need to make sure that we gave them all the tools they needed to be able to use it efficiently and effectively. So this is, I think, the coolest thing that we did. I'm really pumped about this. So we created 30 different videos and trainings using a simple PowerPoint deck and some AI video. So I can't explain how simple this is, but how effective it's been. So we created these really easy decks, cleaned them up, made them look good. And then we went and found an AI translator tool to translate them in Spanish. We pushed them through like ChatGPT to clean up the language and make sure that they had a solid scripts. And we found this talking head that we put in the corner and fed him the scripts, and he read this whole thing out for us. Had we done this without AI, we would have had to hire a whole bunch of different actors, potentially, visit a whole bunch of different people, try different people, test this stuff out, have a bunch of different characters and personalities up there. But because of AI, we were able to do, I think we had 7 different personalities we used that we'd push through. We'd go and adjust the fluctuation and emphasis points in their voice, tweak the pronunciation a little bit to match our finance industry, and tested them all out side by side and figured out which ones worked the best, which ones the most believable, the most trustworthy faces. And we built some awesome videos like this. Really cool story with this. We presented this to our executive team and kind of showed them a lot of the stuff we've been working on, walked through some of these demos, and had this talking head in the corner who was talking about this and explaining everything. And the first question out of the CFO's mouth, of course, is how much did this cost? How much did we pay this guy? This looks great, but how expensive was he? And he was pretty pumped to hear that we only paid $30 a month and that he was a robot. So that was really, really cool. I mean, AI today is phenomenal. And so he couldn't even tell. And we had this on a 70-inch TV up in the conference room, and he wasn't able to tell that it wasn't a real person. So we've been able to use these all over, and they're drastically helping our process. We tried putting a few different people in front of this and doing some testing. I tried doing it myself. I did terrible. I can't stand listening to my own voice. I feel bad for you guys who are listening to me right now. But I was so monotone and boring up there that I couldn't do it. So we found some AI characters who were full of life, and they did some awesome stuff for us. So they worked fantastic. With AI, you don't have to take a million takes or a whole bunch of edits. You just push it through. You're going to get the same result every time. So it's fantastic. I talked a little about the parallel tracks. So I want to go into a little more detail of how we ran these. And I'll talk about them more individually. But basically, we had 2 tracks. We had an automated track and an integrated track. So our automated track took care of our major trainings. So it's just a 1, 2, 3 training. These are, if they go through an AE, these are, or CSM, these are about an hour long. We'd schedule about an hour for each of these. But by pushing them through automation, we're able to kind of sidestep all of that and just push them through the process. And I'll go over that. I'll go over that in a sec. But yeah, just push them through HubSpot in just a workflow series. And then the integrated series, or this integrated section, what we did was those that want to jump ahead, or potentially just didn't watch the trainings before, or use our product less consistently, will receive these constant little reminders that will just show them what they need to do for the next step as they're like actively using the product. And so they'll receive customized demos for where they are at that individual time. So the first one I want to share, this is the automated one. This one goes through HubSpot workflows. Customers receive the reminders and different messages for the trainings. Each of these trainings is a little unique, and they'll talk about different features of our portal or how our software works, or give tips and tricks as to how to sell financing, or how to talk about it, or how to find the right customer using financing. So they're all very, very valuable. But they would just, like before, they were being used inconsistently. So by pushing it through this automation, we'd send the email once, and then we would wait for them to do this training before they receive the next training. So they get training 1, they're going to have to do training 1 before they'll receive training 2. And we do this through a few different workflows that I'll show you the branching. But I'll just show you right now. But once they finish that training, Consensus would then update Salesforce, tell Salesforce, hey, they've done training 1. Salesforce would tell HubSpot. HubSpot would then remove them from the workflow, push them to a secondary workflow where they would then get the second training. And then the same branching would occur. So then they'd be in line for that second training. If they don't do it right away, we have reminders. We have, A/B testing with different subject lines to get them to do these demos or do these trainings, because we wanted to take all of these trainings. There's only 3 big ones. And then if they end up getting through the whole workflow and don't do the training, then there's internal messages that go to our sales reps and say, hey, these guys still haven't watched this training. You need to jump on and do a personalized training with them, follow up with them, make sure that they have the information they need, so you can push them into the next group. For this to really work great, you've got to have an awesome sales team, and luckily we do. And we've got some that are just really great at being an active participant in this whole automation program. And they appreciate it because it simplifies their tasks. It allows them to open up their pipeline, and they've got more time so they can focus on other things. But those that stay really on top of it see immediately when someone watches or when someone is not watching. They're receiving those reminders. They're looking at this. I remember a story a little while back. One of our enterprise reps, he had just sent out a whole bunch of trainings, and he had done a big personalized training for the whole organization. And then he sent a bunch of individualized trainings that went out to all these reps to follow up and make sure they understood the details of the big presentation he had done in person. And he was telling us that one of the ladies he saw as soon as she watched it, and he got the reminder, and he went and checked it out, and he called her up right after. And in the world of technology, she didn't know, but she's like, oh my gosh, this is perfect timing. It was like magic. I just did your training. I'm so glad you're calling me right now. And he was able to follow up with additional questions or check and see if there were anything else she needed. But she was so excited because she'd just seen the training live. She just did the personalized training. And then immediately after that, the sales rep followed up with her over the phone, and she was just ecstatic. And so when you have an active Salesforce, an active sales group that's following up and working with these and doesn't have to do all the menial tasks in between, it can do wonders. For the integrated track, this one we played with a little bit more. I was trying to figure out how we could run these in parallel. So this one's actually going through a different system. We're pushing this one through an internal communication system. These are used with our transactional emails. So when a customer gets approved, customer meaning our customer's customer. So the small business customer is going to be purchasing that equipment or wants to lease that equipment. Our customer, the equipment seller, will get an email like this. And there's different phases that they have to participate in, or just different tasks that they have to do to push this financing through. And so embedded in these emails, we have these little notifications that tell them, okay, this is what you need to do next. If you've forgotten for any reason or whatever, just click here and go, and you can see this quick video and we'll show you how to do it. So we do these through mail merge links, and it has been super, super helpful for us. We can track them back to individual campaigns, track them back to individual users or opportunities, accounts. And this has just been huge for us. So, I mean, the whole reason we're doing all of this, the whole reason we have automation, in my opinion, and the reason we use it at ClickLease, where I work, is to save time. So this allows us to save time, the precious time that our sales reps have. So the way just some quick back of napkin math. This is kind of how I played with it. And the numbers that we have, are decimals and a little higher and a little more confusing. So I just adjusted some stuff, but on average, we're sending about 30 demos a month to each of our AEs. And we have roughly a verbal yes percentage of about 67%. So that means we're bringing on 20 new customers a month. So just including those 3 basic trainings that I showed you before, that's 60 hours of training. So our guys are slammed, and that doesn't give them the time to be able to go and hunt and do other things and continue maintaining and keeping up with their entire book of business. So this was pretty overwhelming. And so by adding this in, we're able to save them on average 60 hours a month. By doing this, they can now handle larger pipelines, fuller pipelines, go work to go find bigger deals, hunt these larger enterprise customers. It's been a great tool. And then also, because we're doing this automated, we also know the level of consistency that all of our customers are receiving as far as their training. And we're having fewer questions down the pipe because they have continuous resources that they can always go back to. And then the resources that they're receiving and the trainings they're receiving are consistent across the board. So everyone's being treated the same, which has worked fantastically for us. So in closing, here's a few key takeaways. The main one is you don't have to have a large team to get stuff done. You can lighten the load with automation. The next one is just use automation. Use it everywhere. Use it in pre-sales, use it in post-sales, use it to automate the simple, repetitive daily tasks. Just use it, and your sales team will thank you. And the third one is use AI. Use it everywhere. AI is so crazy cool. You can do so many awesome things with it. Use it for video, use it for translation, for script writing, design. Use it however possible. It's a very, very efficient tool, and it can help you in a lot of ways, and it can save you a ton of money. I love it for so many reasons, but especially for testing. It allows me to run a whole bunch of different campaigns, run a whole bunch of different variables, and test them against each other without having to do a ton of work to figure things out. So use it. Use AI, use automation. And that's all I got. So I'll hand the time over to Jacob for questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. What a super insightful and cool way to automate different parts of the sales process. So it was really good. So we have a few questions that I'm going to go through. I'll tee them up for you. So the first question we have is from Jeff, and he is wondering, what AI platform did you use for these videos? And then I'll tack onto that and say, what other types of AI platforms are you using?
Oh, okay. Let me think. The video platform, I forgot the name of it. It's like Cynthia or
Synthesia.
That's what it is. Yes. Awesome. Super, super awesome tool. We've absolutely loved it. Like I said, it's super cheap. It's like $30 a month. And It works great for so many different languages. There's tons of different individuals. You can go and choose different dialects. You can choose different accents, and then different kind of levels of enthusiasm with their voices, and then just match them to different faces. I know there's a ton of tools out there, but we've tried a couple, and that one's been our favorite so far. And then as far as other AI tools, we definitely use Chat GPT all the time. We just created a custom GPT to help with some internal lead qualification and lead generation systems. I know our design team has dabbled with a bunch to kind of expand what they're able to do and kind of produce stuff more at mass. But the ones that I've used are that word I can't pronounce that you just said. How do you say it?
Synthesia.
Yep, there we go. That one, ChatGPT, and then I've just played with a bunch of different. I mean, there's so many different AI models popping up all over. But so I've tried a few different translation ones, but really that one's kind of been the bread and butter for a lot of the things that we've been doing.
All right, awesome, thank you. All right, so we have another one here from Lindsay, and this says, "What was the sentiment among your sales team when you introduced more automation into the sales cycle? And then how did you position the value of automation to them so that they didn't feel replaced?"
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. So we were very cautious of that because I didn't want them to feel like the robots were taking over their job or we as marketing were taking over their job. So we just pitched it. We pitched it from the angle of us saving them more time. We'd be able to save them time. They'd be able to more properly or more efficiently train their customers and get their customers on board. I mean, the pre-sale, no one has any problem with that. It's because oh, you're feeding me more leads and they're going to be more qualified. Great, go do it. But when it infringes on their territory of the sales and the post-sale stuff, that's where they kind of got nervous. So we showed them how it's a tool to maximize their effectiveness. We showed them like using consensus, like, hey, you're still the face of this. If you want us to remove this little AI guy, you can go and do all of these, or we'll use him. And then you do personalized introductions at the beginning of these. And you make sure that your face is front and center and they know this is coming from you. And then the follow-up is on you. The overall success of the account is on you still. Like, we're not replacing you. We need you. We're just giving you more tools in your arsenal so that you're able to get this stuff, get more things done. And once we pitched it that way, and we had like a lot of the key enterprise and the senior reps kind of start working with it, that's when it really took off, because they're like, well, that guy's using it and he's really successful. I want to make that kind of money. I'll do the same thing. So it definitely is a little bit of a paradigm shift, but just showing that it's a tool to help them and not replace them was huge.
Cool. Another one that we have is, how did you work internally to get buy-in to consensus among other leaders and your users?
That was kind of an interesting task too. First of all, the way our product works, if it just brought on a couple customers and logistically was a complete failure, it would still be worth it because of the average value of our customer. And so we always had that in our back pocket. But we knew with a lot of the other manually automated things that we'd done that consensus was going to make a difference. And so we were able to show that we've been trying some of this stuff, but without a tool to simplify and centralize all of it, it just would never run as cleanly or smoothly as we'd like. So we kind of just bit the bullet as a marketing team, put it all in our budget and tried it out. We've got an amazing CMO who was 100% behind it day one, trusted us in the proposal and said, look, if you want to try this, let's try it. Let's test it. It's not cheap, but we can do some really cool stuff with it, I'm sure. So go try it. And he let us experiment and play with it. And just within the first few weeks, it had already paid for itself and was showing some fantastic numbers. It was I think, not really, like I said, we've been doing most of this for about 9 months. So, but we have kind of already renewed since then, because we had to, at the end of the year, after it had been going so great last year in 2023, we had to go and buy a whole bunch more licenses. We tripled the size of our product, and we needed to involve a lot more people, mostly the sales reps. Because we were over the MDR team, we did a lot of the pre-sales testing with them, and we'd proven the model out. So then when we expanded into the post-sales, sales was already kind of bought in because they'd seen the success that it had with the leads coming in. And so it wasn't as hard to sell because they'd already seen the results. And so expanding into a more expensive product and getting triple the amount of licenses wasn't nearly as tough as I expected, because they'd already kind of had a taste of that success.
Okay, perfect. No, that's a great answer. We have one that came in from Derek, and he's wanting to know, how do you socialize wins internally among your users to help get everyone else excited about what's possible?
We've done a few things. Portia, our CSM, is fantastic, and so she's thrown out some incentives for our team. When she'll do a team training, and she'll introduce our sales guys to Consensus and show them how to do it, and then help us run some internal stuff. And we've thrown out some Consensus swag. We also internalize it, and we'll offer cash rewards and gift cards and bonuses to get them to utilize it. Who has the most demo boards, who has the most the highest view rate, just a few different things like that, who's created the most custom whatever. And we'll try a few things internally, and then we also just keep it as a key metric. Like when we're looking at if it's pre-sales, and we're looking at number of dials, or we're looking at number of emails, or number of demos set, we're also looking at demo boards created and pushed out. It's just a key metric that everyone is looking at all the time. So if it's standing up there on the dashboard, everyone sees it, and no one wants to see their numbers in red. So they're gonna be an active participant in pushing it out.
Cool. Perfect. And I had one question as well, and it's kind of a big talked about topic, but how did you get buy-in from leadership to test out an AI video?
Well, because it was only $30 a month, I just threw it on my credit card. I'm like, we're going to try this, and it's going to be cool. And if it's a bomb, it's less than a night at the movies. So let's test this out. We think this could be really cool, because we tried Loom and a few other things and done the little videos. We're like, we think this is going to work. And also it was me in front of the camera, and it was one or two of the other sales reps in front of the camera. And with the vast number of videos that we wanted to create, we were going to suck up so much time. And I knew that I couldn't take that time away from my sales reps and away from them on the phone. And that me personally, I didn't have the time to create the decks, write the script, and then do the video. I mean, the video would have taken more time than creating the decks and doing the audio and video portion itself if I was doing it, because I'm not great in front of the camera. And so I knew that it would just take forever. So I'm like, let's try this AI thing. Let's see if we can get it to work. And it was so cheap that I just did it. And then I presented it. And I mean, you heard what the CFO said. He wanted to know how expensive it was, because it looked like it was a great tool, or well, not tool. He wanted to know how much we paid to this hired actor to do it. And when I told him it was AI, he was bought in immediately, because he's like, oh, sweet. So it didn't cost us thousands of dollars to do this. Perfect. Great. Keep going. And so honestly, that part was really, really easy, because we just tested and asked for forgiveness, and we knew it was going to work great. And as soon as people saw the results and literally couldn't tell the difference between a real life human and this AI robot, they were 100% on board. I mean, it made just made sense. It was so many cost savings. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds like the results were awesome. So, all right, we had two more questions that came in. The first one is, how else would you use this for marketing use cases?
Well, we're constantly testing different ways to use it. We're starting to use it for internal communications as well, internal trainings. Like, we're bringing on new employees. We can send all these same videos to them, or other videos we're creating, and then we can follow up and see what they understood, or if they had questions. We're going to be pushing out internal newsletters, and we can see who's using it, who's clicking on it, who's watching it, who's learning from these. So in association with like the newsletter, we'll also have a walkthrough that explains all the different topics and points. If they don't want to click in on all the great new things that marketing has done, they can just watch the video and get the highlights and then go visit the things that are important to them. There's a lot of different ways we're constantly trying to evolve and play with. Like this, it's just a really, really cool platform, really cool tool. We're diving into public links a lot. We're starting to use mail merge links a lot more in different types of communications. Like when we have it on the website, we like the public link. When we're putting it through transactional communications, the mail merge link works great. With the direct integrations that they have with Outreach, we just push it through in those sequences. We only recently got our Salesforce stuff set up. And so now that we have the Salesforce integration, we're pulling specific reports on individual demos, individual trainings, training 1, training 2, training 3, measuring the effectiveness of those in different industries. We're able to go and pivot that data and figure out where it works best. That's going to help us decide how we change and adjust these trainings. There's seriously so many ways. We're now able to look at it from an account perspective, an opportunity perspective. Our enterprise reps are sending these trainings out to 60, 70 people at a time at some of these large organizations. And we can build follow-up reports that our rep can use to follow up with, or we can then send to the leadership group on the other side of the table, and then they can follow up with their reps and make sure that those trainings are watched and understood. Seriously, there's so many things that we just didn't have the ability to do before when we were trying to train people one-off. There's lots of new ways we're trying to learn and use Consensus. I heard they have a new HubSpot integration. I'm super excited about that because we use HubSpot all the time. So I'm super stoked to learn more about that and figure out how we can push that. Maybe we can cut out some of the Zapier stuff we're doing and have a little more of a direct integration. But lots of ways. I mean, we're playing with it wherever we can.
That's cool. And then the last question that we have here is from Lindsay, and it says, what is your advice to other marketing peers that are skeptical of the kind of results they could get from putting this on their website?
That's a totally fair question. I think any good marketer will A/B test it. They're always going to be testing. So even with the stuff we are doing with Consensus, we're consistently testing it. And even though we've had fantastic results with that landing page that I showed you before, and with the public link, with all the new campaigns we're pushing out and with all of the new landing pages we're building, we're still doing A/B tests. We're doing an A/B test with the Consensus live demo with just a regular basic form. And we want to test it against Calendly links. We want to test it against different verbiage in the buttons. Right, the one we have right now is schedule a demo. We're going to be testing it with watch a live demo. If you're skeptical, just test it. Just test it against your other stuff. Like you already have metrics on how well your stuff's performing right now. Run an A/B test and measure the results, just the same you would with any other campaign. But for us, it's a no-brainer because it's worked so phenomenally that we're trying to use it everywhere. And we still do the testing because you need to know. And every time we're pushing out these different campaigns to different industries, different groups, different messaging, it's still important to understand what works best for the end user and for the customer. So we're still doing testing, but with a high degree of confidence, we always believe the Consensus is going to win. But we're still doing testing.
Awesome. Just test it. Can't say it easier than that. So perfect. Well, once again, Ryan, what a really cool and insightful presentation and a good glimpse to see what all of you are doing over there at ClickLease.